Supercomputing started, artificial intelligence started a long time ago. It started in 1950s, and during all the time, it was a research discipline. It was a discipline that people were researching on, and the aim was to make computer think and do things or decide just like a human being. So that's how the research was done in that time. So if you look at what have triggered that to reach the level that we are now, you'll find that there's a lot of development which was done in different areas that was enable AI now to transfer or to expand from where it used to be in the only research realm to now being used in different fields that touch ordinary people. One is advancement in computation, and we all remember the revolution in that area that happened just after Second World War, when they discovered transistors. They were able to have the capability. The size of transistors shrunk, and then we started to have circuits which have many transistors and hence more capacity to compute. We started to have in 80s personal computers, and now we have mobile phones which have very high computation power. So one area which has enabled AI to be able now to be used basically in every ordinary day usage is capability to have a lot of computation in a very small devices. So that is the area of computation. Another area is development in software programming, where we moved from having languages that was taking time to execute commands. Nowadays, we have languages which are much simpler. They take advantage of algorithms, which need very high computation power to work. So nowadays, we have complex algorithms, but they take advantage of computation that we have, and the computation now which is available, even in the level of the level of our mobile phones. They have a lot of computation, they have a lot of memory and things like that. So the advancement of algorithm is another area which has enabled to see this revolution of AI that we experience now. And the last one, which is to me, the most important one, and basically that's the one that divide in what nowadays we have coined AI divide. That is society or countries that they are not capable of taking advantage of AI, and countries that have taken advantage every day to ensure that they increase their competitiveness is data. Nowadays, we have a lot of data, and those data, they can be analyzed so quickly, and then people, they can get the trends, and those trends, they can be used to ensure that someone can be able to do decision quickly. So 3 areas which is enabled to see the revolution of AI that we see now, and I'll repeat, is nowadays we have a lot of computation, and this computation now is in the level of watches, the smartphones, and the other devices that we have. They have a lot of computation. 2, we have complex algorithms which can run even in smaller devices, which can extract trends, and trends are what make AI very superior to others. And the third and the last one, which is to me is the most important, we have a lot of data generated every day in the world. Of course, now there's a lot of discussion on that I think to where we are in AI, we need to make sure that countries around the world, they have to, I believe in my own opinion, that they have to sit down together to ensure that data is becoming a global public good, so that every individual, every country can be able to access data and less compete in having the computation and the creation of the best algorithms. So what we see now, the application of AI in different areas, is because those countries which are able to innovate in the area of AI are countries that they have gained supremacy in those three things. They gain supremacy in computation, supremacy in creating complex algorithms that they take advantage of computation and data that are variable, and also they have a lot of data. Now, what we can do, because that's what I've just described is just we've just scratched the surface. What we can do now, the trend which has shown many countries in the world now is the power of AI in most cases, which is different from the power that many countries had before, is residing in private companies. There are a lot of private companies that they have a lot of data and they're able to capture a lot of data every day. And they have a lot of computation power and the best algorithms and most talented people in their companies. That in the world of AI, they are also as powerful as the way some other country used to be before. Why we say they're powerful? Because they are able to control the narrative, they're able to control the thinking, they're able to make sure that they influence almost all the sectors that we have. The fact is this: as we more computerize, as we connect people, those companies that they are superior in AI, they are able to manipulate many things. And how their strengths is because nowadays more people are connected. We use a lot of Internet of Things, so they are able to capture a lot of data using different platforms that we are using, like the WhatsApps, the Snapchats, and the others. So they get a lot of data. They're able to extract trends. They're able to also write the powerful robots which are running around the internet, and some of them they're in our phones. So are able to influence us the way we think, we want to do the things, and things of that sort. So now, the AI has different dimensions. Previously, it has only scientific dimension or engineering dimension, but now it's a dimension of how we can use it now to leverage what we have so that we can improve our life. And also, it has a dimension of politics, which requires country in regional blocks or in a continental level or globally to be able to sit down together to ensure that data is becoming a public good. Data should be able to be accessed by everyone so that we can be able to run our own algorithm, getting our own trends, and be able also to express ourselves. As the way things are now, many countries are trying to devise different methods that will enable countries to gain that superiority in the global digital economy. But the way things are right now, data are residing in companies. The bigger power is with those companies, and those companies, they can influence people, they can get the trends quickly, and they can do almost many of the things. So this discussion is a very important discussion in our country, in a way that we need to look at AI as a tool that will enable us to reach the goals that we have set for our country, so that we can be able, for example, harness the data that we generate from our country to ensure that our data are residing in Tanzania. We give access to innovators so that they can be able to innovate using our data and things like that. And also to make sure that we participate effectively in a global digital economy, which is there. So there are things that we need to concentrate on. We have the guideline on how we are supposed to transform our society digitally, the document which is called a National Digital Transformation Guideline. So in this guideline, we need to specify a guideline in AI, of which we are supposed to look at 5 pillars of the transformation. 1, we need to ensure that all Tanzanians when I say all Tanzania, I don't mean technical people of computer. All Tanzania are able to understand AI digital skills. That is, they need to have skills of how to use AI, how to innovate AI, and other people will know how to write all those complex algorithms to ensure that we have our own platforms which are taking advantage, minimum on our data, and also data that we can be able to harness or which are provided for free globally. Number two is to ensure that the platforms of AI are secure, and also those platforms, they can be trusted. So the dimensions of security and trust is important, because having only systems which are secure is one, but making people trust them is completely another thing. And when we talk about trust, then another dimension comes. The trust comes to the platforms providing information that are useful to people, for real. Because most of the AI, even though people are so fascinated with some of the applications which are available now, like the Chat GPT and the other, like the Bard and other things, but we need to understand that AI system, or any system that have been created in that sort, the output it gives, it depends on the type of data which are available. So when it comes to trust, we need to ask ourselves, can those data be trusted? Or are they having some sort of bias? Because most of us, we understand, if the data have been structured in the way that they're biased, then the whole output cannot be trusted. And this is a crux of matter in the area of what we call fake news. Fake news, they're using AI, but those data are being skewed, they are biased, and the output that they give is tailored in such a way to give a certain output or things like that. So pillar number two is to ensure that these platforms of AI are secure and also they can be trusted. Pillar number three of transformation in AI is to ensure that all Tanzanians, they have digital telecommunication services which will enable them to access AI applications. Because we know AI applications, they demand a lot of things. One, they demand to have very reliable telecommunication services. Two, they have a tendency of accessing a lot of data. So we need to have a very stable the network services that can reach all the people. Because once people they start not to have a good connection, it means you can exclude them from all the benefits that can come with the AI. We still know that there are a lot of benefits, like in health, like in education, and all things that has to do with customer relations and things like that. But no one can access AI platforms if they are not having reliable, stable digital communication services. So pillar number three is that. Pillar number four is to ensure that AI is integrated to the normal activities of all Tanzania that we target, so that they'll be able to participate in the digital economy of our country. So in that area, we look at how the data is accessed in Tanzania, how different systems they're integrating AI so that we can be able, for example, to do transaction much easier and things like that instantaneously, how people are accessing services like in health, like in judicial, all those services which are touching human beings in the digital economy in the context of Tanzania. And the last pillar is a pillar of digital innovation and research and entrepreneurship in AI. We need to ensure that we innovate out of all this paradigm shift which is brought by AI. And to be able to innovate, surely we need to have a control in those three focus areas of AI, which are very important, and I'll keep repeating. One is we have to make sure that we provide the computation, and computation is available. Two, we need to have superior algorithms that we can use to access the trends and things like that. And number three is to ensure that the data is available. So when we look at the transformation, how we can transform our society to ensure that they get benefit in the revolution which is brought by AI, I'll repeat, we need to look at 5 pillars. Pillar number 1, to ensure that all Tanzanians, they have different level of AI digital skills, like the basic level so that people will be able to use platforms. The intermediate level, they'll be able to manage routine activities. The advanced level, they'll be able to create algorithms so that we'll be able to take advantage of that. And also redefine Tanzania in the global digital economy. Pillar number 2 is to ensure that all the platforms of AI, they are secure, and 2, they can be trusted. And pillar number 3 is about to ensure that we provide digital telecommunication services, which is able to run AI application on top of it. Because we all understand once someone doesn't have reliable telecommunication services or they're excluded from that, they will not be able to participate in this revolution of AI, of which we believe is going to be a fundamental for those people who are not connected. Pillar number 4 is to ensure that we use AI so that our people will be able to participate in the digital economy. Our digital economy, as the time goes, it shows that it takes advantage of AI, and most of those systems, we are just consumers. Other people are innovating. And the last one, to ensure that we research AI, we innovate in AI, and also we also build the entrepreneurship in that to ensure that people are taking advantage, using it in their business so that they will be able to make Tanzania more competitive in the global digital economy. Why global digital economy is important? Because AI is used as a tool. And AI has shown clearly that if some countries will not devise the AI strategies as quickly as possible, they can be turned to be consumers of other people's innovations. And it looks like it might be very, very permanent. So we have to make sure that, first of all, to ensure that this is a discussion for every Tanzanian, not discussion only for technocrats, so that other people will understand. Like the way I've said in the pillar of digital skills, this discussion can be discussed in the level of basic level, so that to ensure that most people, they know how to use AI and how they can use AI for their own benefit. Intermediate level, to ensure that there's a discussion on people that they can manage these platforms. In an advanced level, there must be discussion on how we can create our own algorithms that is going to define our identity as Tanzanians in the global digital economy. I remember one day I was discussing with one of my colleagues who has he has a big experience in AI, and he stunned me by when he said, in the world of AI, most of the thinking is a Western thinking, and we need to put African thinking into that. So these kind of discussions are very important. First of all, to bring our identity. When people are creating AI robots and they're learning all over the internet, are they having the thinking on how an African is supposed to do and to preserve their own identity? That's one of the discussions that we need to have. 2 is to ensure that our people really innovating around the AI, or they're just consumers, because being a consumers is, I think, in my own opinion, it's a bit dangerous. We need to ensure that we design our own algorithm, we design our own applications that will preserve, for instance, our culture, our way of thinking, and also to, making sure that our economy is becoming even more stronger. So to sum up my discussion, I can talk for a long time. AI, it is a discussion that most people now they are concentrating in many countries, because it is this opportunity, or the world have reached this stage that truly machine is able to think almost like human being. I use the word almost because the area of empathy is the one that at least AI is not very good in it, but the rest of other things AI can do even better than any human being. So to sum up with my discussion, I think I've used 20 minutes so far. This is what I wanted to present to catalyze the discussion that is followed. Thank you very much, Doctor, for giving me this moment. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Nkundo Moses Mosaga. And thank you also for keeping time. I think you've consumed the exactly 20 minutes around there. So now we have also along the way, if we are having some questions, of course, in the last hour, you can also post the questions to the chat there so that later on we can go, the presenters can go question by question. And also we can also, ask it straight away. So now, I think Jumanne is around. Jumanne Rajabu Mtambalike, who is the founder of Sahara Ventures. Here he is also in Morocco. So you are welcome, Jumanne, for this discussion. And this is your time. Please welcome.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Colleagues, can you hear me? I'm trying to confirm if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. You can just proceed.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you. I'm humbled and honored to be invited by CBE to take part in this discussion. But I also like to congratulate my brother, Dr. Nkundo Mosaga, for a good overview of what needs to be done and what is happening. I think he has almost covered it all. I'll just try to chip in my thoughts on where I think he might have either forgot some things or have a different opinion. So my name is Jumanne Mtambalike. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sahara Ventures. Part of what I do, I looked into emerging technologies and the role the technologies can play in emerging economy, particularly Africa. Our company has published a lot of documents. We have been featured in a lot of programs that looks into emerging technologies and how they are impacting different sectors. We are looking into blockchain, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, augmented and virtual reality, and other relevant technology in the 4AR. In the context of the discussion today, which is the future's intelligence, harnessing the potential of artificial intelligence in Africa, what it is, what works, what doesn't, and what next to Africans, I will focus my thoughts into multiple areas. I'll look into fast access and infrastructure. I'll also look into skills and education. I'll look into ethical and regulatory frameworks. I'll look into data availability and quality. I will also look into socio-economic impact. And also I will look into localized solutions and context. I will also look into strategic partnerships and collaboration. So to start with access and infrastructure, there is no way Africa can be able to capitalize on digital economy and digital transformation, as well as to be in a strategic position to play some sort of a leading role in what is happening if we are not investing in infrastructure. And this includes investment in basic infrastructure like access to electricity, access to roads, and up to technology infrastructure, including computing capabilities, access to remote servers as well as cloud services, access to devices and gadgets that allow us to process this data and information. So the first crucial part to me, I think, is an issue of how are we going to invest in infrastructure to allow easy dissemination as well as adoption of these technologies, particularly artificial intelligence. And also, to me, what I think for final consumers, it is not about what technology you're using, because at the end of the day, technology is just a tool. But how do we translate this technology to impact how they receive services, as well on how it addresses some of the most pressing issues that are affecting them at the grassroots level is extremely important. I'm talking about things like to a final consumer, as long as, let's say it's a farmer living somewhere in Mwangika, Sengelema, as long as they are able to receive SMS that says this seed is counterfeit, to them that is enough. They don't need to know if the technology behind the assessment of the seed is artificial intelligence. So how do we build an access system and infrastructure support that allow final consumers to access this technology in the easiest and efficient way is one of the challenges that we're going to have to fix. So that is one area I wanted to share my 2 cents. The second area is again on skills development and education. How are we going to develop a skilled workforce which is capable to work with AI technology is one of the challenges that we are supposed to be fixing. We are moving from the age of artificial intelligence to the age of augmented intelligence, with things like generative AI starting to take shape. If artificial intelligence can compose a better music, if artificial intelligence can draw a better picture, if artificial intelligence can play a piano, if artificial intelligence can provide better counseling in some of the situations. So how do we ensure we are equipping our young people with relevant knowledge and skills to work side by side with artificial intelligence will be the next big challenge, because we're talking about tomorrow and the future of Africa. This is where most of the challenges will come in. How do we change and disrupt our education system to prepare our young people to be able to work side by side with machines? How do we equip them with relevant skills for their future work so that they can be able to fit in, because artificial intelligence is here to stay. Artificial intelligence can compose better emails, can communicate better than an average graduate in any of the school that you know, not in Africa, across the world. So these are some of the things which I think we need to pay attention to when it comes to skills development and how are we transforming our education system. The third area that I wanted to bring into your attention is the issue of ethical and regulatory frameworks. The ethical implication of AI are massive. Dr. Mkundo has already talked about issues around privacy, talked about issues around bias, issues on accountability. And these are issues that needs to be addressed, and they need to be addressed very early. In the book by Professor Ruha Benjamin, where she talks about artificial intelligence and race, where she terms a concept called a John code, whereby basically AI does what Jim, who is the coder, tells it to do. So if Jim background is of a person who actually is unethical or someone who is racist, it's very easy for the code that have been developed by Jim to behave the same way. So how do we create this accountability system? How do we create a system that protects artificial intelligence solution from being biased and also to being accountable? I think this is one of the biggest discussions that is happening across the world right now. The founder of OpenAI, Sam Altman, has been presenting this to the US Congress. It's a discussion that also needs to happen in Africa, even at a very early stage, like how these technologies are going to influence and impact our legal and regulatory systems, and how do we ensure we remain ethical as we apply these technologies. If a student can do a paper, the whole academic paper, using ChatGPT or Bard by Google, to what extent our education system is being affected? How can we remain ethical where AI brings an opportunity to break every rule that has been designed before? So these are some of the things that we might need to consider when it comes to ethical and regulatory framework. Another area which I think is very, very important to talk about is the issue of data. In Africa, we have one big conundrum. So those who have data, who are primarily government as well as established private companies, don't use the data that much. And those who don't have data, they're the one who develop skills to use those data and also to create solutions. I'm talking about startups. I'm talking about innovators. I'm talking about college students who are working on projects. They don't have access to data. Whether you go to University of Dodoma today or University of Dar es Salaam, you look at the students who are doing their final year projects on AI issues, their biggest challenge is access to data. It's very complicated for them to access data from public. It's very complicated for them to access data from big telecom companies, big banks, who are the one who are actually producing most of this data. So how do we create a system where innovators and disruptors and solution creators can easily access data to create localized solutions for our people? It's a next big challenge for our policymakers. How do we create regulations and systems and policies that encourage sharing of data in our ecosystem? I think that's something very, very important we need to talk about. The other thing is we want to pay attention to socioeconomic impact of AI because it has both negative and positive impact. It's for a fact that AI is going to disrupt jobs and it's going to lead to potential unemployment and income inequality. Already you have people who are making a lot of money through these AI solutions, and you have already industries that have been completely disrupted and people are losing jobs. But at the same time, how do we use artificial intelligence and predictive technologies into sectors such as agriculture, education, health sector, where we can be able to ensure last mile services are being delivered to people, where we can be able to ensure the quality of education is improving, where we can be able to ensure things like food security, where we can be able to ensure the quality of health services offered through AI. And there's already some good and interesting projects that are being implemented by different startups in Tanzania at a low scale. Startups like eShangazi are creating a platform to provide accurate sexual reproductive health using chatbots. Startups like Guest Faster, allowing people to access clean cooking guests using the mobile application. You have startup like Dr. Helsa, which were researching on last mile service delivery in a medical system using artificial intelligence. So how do we nurture more of these startups and these solutions so that they can have impact at scale at a grassroots level is the next big challenge that we need to discuss as a country, also as policymakers and leaders. Another thing which is extremely important, Dr. Nkundo talked about this. How do we localize these solutions? How do we make ChatGPT, Bold, and some other emerging generative AI solutions and products out there make sense to our people? How do we ensure our young people use this product in such a way that they can be able to make the most of it and also impact our communities? Because some of these projects and product, as already said, we are living in the age of Power 4.0, where most of the power is being controlled by private companies because they have ability to influence, to put leaders in power using algorithms. They have influence to understand what young people in Tanzania need and want, and to run a campaign to influence what comes out of that campaign. If you look at the book by this guy, Mindfuck, which talked about how Cambridge Analytica was able to influence elections in the US and some other countries in Africa. This is the negative, this is the dark side of AI. If our policymakers, if our intelligence systems, if our leaders, they don't know that there's this power coming, and if we don't have the right human resource and capital to handle some of those transformational issues, how are we going to be able to catch up with what is happening? It's imperative we create localized solution to be able to maintain our data and information, but also to influence our own agendas, because that will be the next big challenge. And finally, from my side, it's key to invest in collaboration and strategic partnerships, building collaboration between academia, industry, government, civil society, and the community is vital to foster innovation, knowledge sharing, and capacity building in artificial intelligence. Because without collaborative effort, we cannot be able to drive sustainable AI development and ensure that emerging economies have active participation in the global AI landscape. When I say emerging economy, I include our own country, Tanzania. So we should invest more in strategic partnerships and collaboration. We should invest more in researching. We should embrace center of excellences, such as the one that has been established at UDOM and some other universities. I think this is very, very important as we move to the next stage of trying to see how AI can be able to effectively impact our community. By addressing these key issues, we can help countries like Tanzania harness the potential of AI for economic growth, social development, and addressing societal challenges while minimizing any negative consequences of the technology. So I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jumanne. Thank you very much for your insights and for having time. I know you have a very busy schedule there in Marrakesh, but you took time to to be around here. Thank you very much. So as we are proceeding now,
thank you. Appreciate it.
May I take this opportunity to invite Mahadi Tunga, who is a co-founder and a director of the Data Lab organization. So you are most welcome, Mahadia. And proceed, please.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad to be here, and I'm honored as well. The good thing about speaking the last one is everything has been covered, right? Yeah, so I think my colleagues, Dr. Moses and my brother Jumanne, have spoken a lot in terms of what can be done to improve or to ensure that also as Tanzanian, we are also taking part in the AI revolution as it happened across the world. So I'll talk more on the what is and what isn't, and how as African youth should should prepare ourselves to join in and being creators and not doers, because also both Jumanne and Moses have spoken about what should we do to ensure that we are not just users of AI technology, but also creators. So just briefly, I don't want to repeat what has been already captured. So in terms of what is in AI in Africa and Tanzania specific, I see that we have seen an increased adoption of AI, and we have seen recently a lot of AI community across different universities. From the University of Dar es Salaam, we have AI lab in Dodoma. We have AI initiatives in Nelson Mandela. So we see that there are a lot of initiatives supporting. So as students, I think there is that enabling environment in terms of where to acquire skills. But then, as they have already said, there are a lot of challenges as well. We still have data challenge. Jumanne spoke about the fact that most of the students don't have access to the local data. So they end up creating solutions that by using data from Kaggle and Zindi. It's not bad using data online, but then we are missing an opportunity to create local solutions that can be able to solve challenges in our own community, because most of the students, when they do like image processing data, they'll have to take somewhere online, because the process is quite bureaucratic. For instance, if you want to do something on health, that means you need to go to NIMRI to get ethical clearance, and then you need to go back to the ministry. So the process is quite long, and most of these students for the undergrad student have less time for that. Even master's student, both of them, these students have less than a year to develop a solution. So they cannot lose like 6 months in the process of acquiring just data. So like a good example at my PhD, I think it took me a year to actually get access to the data from the ministry. So yeah, so it's quite a bureaucratic process. So I think creating an enabling environment, if we want our students to create real world solution, not just toy solution, we also need to think on how we can echo this to the government so that we are able to, the process of accessing data for education purpose is less bureaucratic, so that students can access data timely. So that is quite important, as also coming from academic institution, that is quite a challenge. But then I would like to talk on the side now of the students, as part of this audience are students from CBE. What can they do also as well to ensure that they tap into their potential? Jumanne talked about the issue of skills, and it should be beyond what you are getting from the class. You should create yourself that kind of self-demand. You should create an environment for yourself to actually go online and access materials. There are a lot of online courses that are free from Coursera, edX, Udacity, etc., where you can actually be able to leverage those platforms and improve your skills. But also from the student side, I would very much encourage in participating in AI competition, local competition. We know that there are local competition or hackathon run, for instance, by IndabaX community. I know it's coming up next month. So you should always look at such opportunity to test your skills and see, and also it's a platform also to network as well with like-minded individuals in the country, but also looking at the global platforms like Kaggle or African platform like Zindi, participating in those platforms, because also not only it helps you to it helps you to improve. Sorry. Hello, can you hear me?
Please proceed, Mahadia. Somebody has just, switched up, unmuted maybe the speaker or something. You can just proceed. You can hear.
Okay, great. So yeah. So participating in those challenges helps also to showcase your skills and also increase your problem-solving ability as well. And so that is quite important. And also as well, most of the students who are like doing data science, machine learning, you find them that they don't have online profiles like in GitHub and and other technical platforms. It's quite important that you also upload your solutions so that others can also refer to your work as well, and it can be able to increase your profile, but also add in some opportunity as well. So yeah, so that is quite important. But as well as student also, it's important. I know most of African students don't apply for, not African, actually, Tanzanian specific, don't apply for this AI internship in the in like international space. I know like UN, UNDP, UNHCR, they normally have these data science internship programs. How many of our students know? Do we share this opportunity to our students? Because those are also ways in creating skills and local data scientists who can come and solve our local driven challenges. And yeah, so I wanted to emphasize on that, because I know that most of the students will be just sitting and complaining, maybe perhaps they don't get enough from class. But as students, you also have a chance to get, I mean, to search and look for materials online, and also form right network, join right community, so that you also enhance your AI skills, because we want more local Tanzanian-driven AI solutions, and there are a lot of opportunity in this space, and on the side now of the government, for me, I would and my talk will focus more on the capacity building, because of course I'm coming from the academic institution. I would also emphasize promoting our STEM education. We are talking about AI, and we want local AI solutions. But when you look at the you look at Form 4 results, Form 6 results, you see that we still have a challenge on core subjects like mathematics and physics, a lot of challenges. What do we do to ensure that we improve these skills? Because not improving these skills is the challenge that we get at the university, where most of the students end up just using libraries, but they cannot be able to unpack libraries. And most of that is because of poor math background. So I would like to emphasize a lot in promoting STEM education at the lowest level, so that when students reach at the highest level, they have the necessary skills to be able to tap into the potential. So that's what I would, and maybe last, what I would want to talk is just echoing what my both colleagues mentioned on supporting, on collaboration, industrial and academic collaboration to enhance the skills. It's important, so that not just our programs just are around, we just not train students, but they also have access to the to solve real world problems from the industry. And as most of the university now are actually revamping their curriculum through the HEAT project, I think also as stakeholders, it's important we take part. I know there are a lot of, university are sending over the questionnaire to improve the curriculum, and some people are shying away from responding to those, but only by responding to those is when we'll be able to improve the quality of education. So it's important. So I'd like just to take this opportunity for those. I know there are a lot of questionnaires passing around on improving the curriculum, evaluating curriculum across different universities. So that's the chance you have from the industry perspective to add your inputs. With that, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mahadia, for your presentation and the insights on AI. And of course, thank you also for your time, because I know all of you, the three of you are having programs that are busy, but you took time for this. So we really appreciate. So now in the chat over there, I have seen a number of questions. I think also you as presenters, you can, have a look at them slowly, meanwhile we are proceeding. So at this hour, discussion. So what you can do is, as a participant, you can raise your hand. If you go to reactions and then raise your hand, we'll be able to, to see who is that, and then you can ask the presenters. But maybe Jumanne is to drop from the call in 7 minutes. Maybe somebody with a question to Jumanne, please. I saw in the chat somebody was having a question to Jumanne. Okay, so members.
I think Jumanne might find a question among the question asked and the response before leaving. There is a question, how can African government work to address the lack of skill? Address it to Mr. Jumanne.
Yeah, I've tried to respond to that question. I think we just need to get practical. Things are happening. Kamavoskia, some other leagues, as they've said, there's a lot of activities here and there. But I think we need to be more ambitious. I'm happy that my brother, Dr. Mossaga, is here to be more ambitious about this. We need to move beyond their strategies and plans and to start to do something. So that'll be response, at least for now. If we can actually study initiatives that are happening like Data Science Nigeria, where they're looking into giving millions of youth into data science skills and AI, if we can replicate models of the likes of Andela, but also IBM, they have an initiative called Digital Nation Africa. How can we form strategic partnership with this regional and global movement to equip more young people in Tanzania with skills? Alternatively, from just main academic streams, it can be one of the ways to
Hello. Hello. Okay. I think Jumanne have been. Are you still going on answering this?
Yeah, so
question?
That's all I wanted to share.
Okay, Jumanne, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, and I can see two hands, one from Benedict, another one from Pirbai. I'm not sure if they asked.
Yeah, okay. May I welcome Pirbai now to ask you? I can see you have raising your hand. Merijan, yes. Pirbai, please, if you can proceed.
Yes, okay. Thank you, CB, for having arranged this this session. Actually, it's very timely, and you have got the right people on the board. My question would go to Dr. Mswaga. Whatever all of the three of them spoke is very relevant. I don't need to review anything on that one. I'm actually from GR Institute of Information Technology, and we are actually having a collaboration with CBE and DIT, and with some funding that we need to train people in AI and data science and machine learning and cybersecurity. But in our study, we have seen that there are so many people involved doing different things at different times. How can CTC, the Dr. Mswaga, could coordinate and get all these people who are dealing with this to work together and not to replicate and duplicate whatever each one is doing. What is the possibility of having one platform on this line, please? Thank you.
Dr. Mwasaga, please, a response to the Major Mpirima question.
Mr. Pilbar, thank you very much for that question. It's a relevant question. I'll answer it in this way. In any ecosystem that is supposed to work perfect, there must be a tripartite way on how different actors they act together. This model, we call it triple helix. Like if we want to build the ecosystem of AI in Tanzania so that every single player will work perfect, there have to be government, like the way you have posed your question, and there must be academia where talent, research, and can be done, and the issue of entrepreneurship. And also there have to be a private sector, people who can turn all those things to be business and making Tanzania competitive. So this week, I was actually on Monday, I was visited by AI Association of Tanzania. And they told me it's an association that has around 300 people who are doing different kinds of things of AI. So we are in the process of signing MOU, and the ICT Commission is ready, and that is our mandate to ensure that all the eco players in Tanzania are interfacing with government, and we facilitate you. As most of you, I think you understand, ICT Commission is not a regulator. We are promoter, we are facilitator. So our work is to ensure that you succeed. But there was a question that was asked with regard to data sets, how to ensure that data sets are available. We work with Jumanne and other people who are very passionate in the area of startup ecosystem. First, to build what we call regulatory sandbox. And Jumanne was involved into that very much, and I believe the idea came from him. So very soon we are going to have the framework of regulatory sandbox of Tanzania, which require many regulators in our country to write their own regulatory sandbox, which will allow startups to be able to access data. And those data they can use for their innovation and things of that sort. So at this particular moment, Central Bank of Tanzania is in the final stage of releasing their own regulatory sandbox, which will allow fintechs and other innovators to access data from banks. We are having a talk with TCRA. They've issued directives that will enable innovator to be accessing some of the data, but now they want to release a sandbox of itself. So we are in talk with them with that regard. But we want that thing to be in all sectors, in agriculture, in fisheries, in transportation, and all those things. Anywhere where there's a data, there have to be a way on how startups and other people they can access it. But what build or give us the confidence of making sure that we pursue that direction is data protection law of Tanzania. Data protection law is giving the power, first of all, power back to people who are generating data. Initial way, people who were collecting data, they had power over people who are generating data. So data protection is giving power back to people. So where we go, we'll see a lot of innovations, innovation of area of risk, innovation of area of loans, because we all understand people in Tanzania can use AI to first of all, analyze all data that one is generating using the mobile phone. And then that data can be used to structure a loan for someone. These kind of things were not being able to happen before because most of the telcos they get the data basically for free, and they don't give access of those data to other people who want to use it in a different way. So data protection is giving power back to individuals. Like, for example, if I use a certain platform, I have a power of using my data anyhow I want it. Of course, there must be other platforms which are built, and other platforms are the one that they're going to manage the whole process. So ICT Commission, we are promoters, and that's our job, to make sure that you succeed. And we're working with different players to ensure that this is happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moses. I wonder if Belgian feedback, maybe, do you have any other following question regarding the responses from Dr. Nkundwe?
Not for now, but I'll definitely visit his office very soon and get that collaboration worked out. Asante sana, Doctor. I'll see you probably very soon.
Karibu sana.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you very much. So now can I welcome Benedict. Benedict, you have also risen up your hand, and please proceed.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. But before asking the question, I would like to thank the College of Business Education for organizing these events, which is very important. But also special thanks to discussants, because they have tried a lot, and through these kind of platforms, it's creating some sort of awareness to people, especially to our nation, the developing nations like ours. But I listened from the discussants. They talked about the University of Dodoma, Nelson Mandela, University of Dar es Salaam, about the step that they have taken towards artificial intelligence, which is good because this is for everyone. But my question now, which can be answered by any discussants, it is like that. As a nation, I mean as Tanzanian, do we have any policy at a national level that guides us towards artificial intelligence? If we have that, to what extent have we achieved until now? And by when do we think that will be at least in a step that we can at least join the world towards artificial intelligence? Because this artificial intelligence is now, the scope of artificial intelligence is growing. Different countries are in a race to achieve artificial. So I want at least to know about the question that I have asked, if as a nation, do we have a policy at national level towards achieving artificial intelligence?
Thank you, Benedict, for that. Dr. Moses, can you take that, please?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Asid, for this opportunity. Benedict, this is a pertinent question that you have asked. It is a very good thing. But you know, like the way I said before, AI basically is an amalgamation of many different tracks of technologies. That is, there is a part of AI that deals with data. There's a part of the AI which has to deal with algorithms and the software side, and the part of of AI that has to do with computation. So if you look in the level of granularity of that of those three things, there are some laws and there are some policies which cover some of the things. But having AI policy, we are not yet there. What we are working on is to devise a strategy, because a strategy is the one that can address things much quicker, because this area is moving out very fast. So we work in that way. For example, data protection law deals with part of AI that deals with data. That's a law that will enable us to have our data residing in Tanzania and being accessed by anyone who is interested with it. When it comes to the part of the algorithms, is of course that has to do with partly education, partly companies that they are producing it, partly is covered by law that has to deal with ethics, ethical part of it, which are there, yeah, and so on and so forth. So I believe that we have different kind of instruments that cover those three things. But having a one policy that targeting only AI, we are not yet there. But what I know that will come very soon is a strategy that cover that. And basically, we need a strategy to be precise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moses, for the response. I wonder, Benedict, if you have any following up question after the response, maybe you have another question or observation, kind of. Please welcome.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I heard about the response, and I thank for that. But I think it's time now as a nation to have a policy. Why I'm saying that? Because if you go to, you just visit the literature from the world, from different countries, they have the policy, and they also have the strategies and how to achieve what they intend to achieve. So I think it's now high time for us as a country, as Tanzania. It's not only for Tanzania, but for most developing countries, especially in Africa, we do not have a policy. So it is now, according to me, to my opinion, it's now high time to have that policy, to talk with the government and at least advise the government on the need to have the policy towards the artificial intelligence, because the world is moving so fast on that. Thank you.
Moderator.
Thank you very much.
Additional moderator.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Dr. Mashineni.
Yes, moderator.
Okay, good afternoon. You can proceed. You can proceed.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I have a follow-up question, just minor, but probably it can be important. In academia, especially in the training institutions where we have instructors and we have students, what is the preparedness of the higher education institutions to cope with this AI? As we see our learners, one of the principals said that the learners, especially in research or when they do assignments, they're using AI, which is trying sometimes even to lower their innovativeness when trying to pursue their activities, academic activities. Now, what is the preparedness by the high institutions to make sure that we deliver the quality products of our graduates, given the fact that we're in the era of the AI? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mashineni. For this one, I know Dr. Nkundo is there, but may I welcome Mahadia if we have something to contribute into this? Please welcome.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, so preparedness, there is some level of preparedness in a sense that I think now all the universities have adapted these online, softwares for plagiarism like Turnitin. And I see also, I think it's the last month or two months, the minister was talking, the minister responsible for education in Kenya was talking about that is not, now it's like it's mandatory, and TCU should do like sort of a random check for the thesis that's submitted at the universities, and I think there will be some measures against, I think, the supervisor and the students, if in case in any way there is they have plagiarized. But then I know also there are limitations to the plagiarism software when it comes to ChatGPT, because that's the the global discussion on how that can be. How can we ensure that students? I mean, how can we ensure that students don't copy something directly from the ChatGPT? But so there are measures taken, but there are still some challenges because it's still a challenge to understand from the ChatGPT. But the good thing, if you follow closely with your student, you can tell that this student is writing their thesis, because if you're not close to your student, you are not going to know. From as academician, that means if student is developing a thesis, you start developing a story together and you give them some parts to work. And I think you can be able to tell if someone is copying somewhere else, because they will not be able directly to work specific to your comments. But then you can also tell, there are software where you can tell to what percentage the thesis was or the write-up was written by an AI. So it can tell you if it's a 7%, 80%, etc. So you can be able actually to tell if this work has been written by an AI software, even if it passed through plagiarism. So there are ways to do that, but again, now I think becomes also the role of the supervision at the university level, that close supervision with the student, because ChatGPT has disrupted, and it's not only Tanzania, across the globe there are a lot of discussion. And I know of a recent there is a work that has been published, and the work that is ongoing on trying to understand, try to recognize the work that has been passed through these natural language processing software, if the work has been written and to what percent. But I think most of these tools are not 100% efficient at the moment. So I still see that academic supervisors have a role to play at the moment. So that will be my response.
Yeah, thank you.
I think
very much.
I think I have something to add on
you
that.
have something to add on there?
Yes, I have
please
something to
go
add.
on.
Yeah, because as you understand, I was in academia for 17 years, so I'm still passionate with that. First, based on what Dr. Mashineni asked is, what can be done? Okay, so one thing, when it comes to AI first, I believe we have reached a level where all disciplines, they have to study how to use AI. That is, whether you are teaching law, commerce, agriculture, or anything, everyone needs to have the skills on how to use it. People who are studying computer, they can study additional things, how to create algorithms, how to ensure that you create platforms which can give those benefits that one wants. Now, when it comes to academia in general, if you analyze where the discussions now is centralized in the area of assessment. Because many people, they say, that people are using these systems to do assignment and things like that. But we have to understand, things are evolving. Now we have reached a point where machine can learn and also can extract trends, and also they can do things which are repetitive, things which they used to be done by human being repetitively. The danger that we are in now is what I call machine dependency, because we human being now, we depend on machine too much. Initially, we used to use machine for doing some other things, which maybe they were tedious for us. But machine nowadays can think, basically in the level of an average person, on things which are repetitive. Now, what is the critical in assessment procedure in academic institution is, we need to understand there are different ways on how you can assess someone. The way of thinking that the only way you can assess someone is for someone to write an assignment and providing to a lecturer or a teacher, I think those days are almost over. Because people, they can use these machines and they can use in combination of other applications, and you will never be able to know if someone has written himself or if someone has used these systems. I'll give the one experience of a country where I did my bachelor and master's. I did my studies, bachelor and master's in Ukraine. When I used to study in Ukraine, initially I was very surprised. For example, in their assessment, you write your examination, but you can get marks only when you defend what you have written orally. So to them, oral assessment is assessment that they use. So I think we have reached a point now, we need to use oral assessment. You need to discuss someone with regard to what someone have written, and then you understand if this person have grasped the things and he knows the issues around the assignment that you've given. So I think we've reached a point where we need to assess someone from what he talks, not from what he has written. This is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moses. Thank you very much. You know what, when you mentioned the Ukraine, I was a bit shocked, but maybe because of the war that's going on right now, because by the time you were there, I think it was smooth. There was no war. Okay, so now we proceed. Now we proceed. Dr. Mashenene, are you having a follow-up question? On looking at looking at the charts, there has been a number of questions. Is Nyanda available? Nyanda, can you proceed? You had a question to Dr. Mwasaga. Nyanda Freddy?
I think Dr. Moses can reply since the question is written there, then he can read the reply direct.
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, I'm very thankful.
Okay, you can do. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thankful to Fred Nyanda for question that they've asked about to ensure availability of Tanzania regional data sets. The answer to this is a data protection law, which has been passed into law in Tanzania now. With that law, now we have the instrument to ensure that we can direct that our data have to remain here. That's one. Two, there's an issue of data protection. There's a data openness of data to be available to innovators and other researchers who want to use it for their own thing. Of course, they'll be using under certain framework of things, also to ensure the issue of privacy for other people. So the data protection is a foundation for that. That's what I can answer.
Thank you. There's another question again for you, Dr. Moses, from our host and Dr. Mramba. There was a question about the pillars, I think.
Yes.
Can you just proceed with that as well?
It's a pertinent question because when it comes to digital transformation, right? Without concentrating on AI. Digital transformation has 5 pillars. It has pillars of skills, it has pillars of security and trust, it has pillars of digital telecommunication services, digital economy, and digital research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So those are the things. Now, to look at the practicality of Tanzania, especially in AI-based solutions, it is as simple that when you look at the skills, so we need to ensure that first, if possible, all Tanzanians will be able to use some tools of AI for their own application. For example, in health, in education, in accessing different solutions that touch people that are made by government. So to be able to use that, that's the skill that everyone should be able to have. Then when it comes to intermediate skills, the skills like, for example, how to manage it every day, how to administer systems, then we need to train people on that. And we can leverage the system that we have in our country, for example, the vocational systems, the technical education system, and also the university systems to develop such a kind of cadres who can administer and manage that. And then when it comes to advanced skills in the AI, we need to take advantage of universities which are involved themselves in the research. For example, the kind of the CBEs, the kind of University of Dar es Salaam, DIT, University of Mandela, one that they are doing advanced skills in the level of masters and PhD, so that we can create algorithms which are powerful enough to take advantage of data that are available and to create applications which they make sense to our people. So we have the infrastructure of all the education system in Tanzania. That is, we have vocational system, we have technical system, and we have academic system, which is in the university level. So in that regard, it's practical. Then when it comes to cybersecurity and trust, we have some things and some things they need to be improved. For example, consumer protections with all the applications that are using AI. This is the area that we need to work to ensure that we have strong consumer protection for those people who are consuming or using these applications. And also to ensure that the cybersecurity aspect is covered properly. Because when you use ChatGPT, I know for sure there are many other functions that are integrated to that application, which you don't have an idea with. You don't have an idea is when you install ChatGPT in your phone or your computer, apart from the services given to you, what type of data they're extracting from your computer? That one you don't understand. And very few people, they will know what is happening behind the scene. So the whole issue of consumer protection has to be build up a foundation where we can understand everything. When it comes to enjoying all these things, we need digital communication services. So we need to have universal digital communication services of the level that can be able to run AI application or solutions in our country. So you have seen the government, I think a month ago, they have unveiled a project where they are building more towers, and the tower that they are capable of providing this kind of solution means the one of G4 and things like that. So that is perfect. Then the digital economy, there are a lot of things we've done in that side, the issue of payment systems, the issue of provision of different kind of services of health, judicial systems, and the systems of different kinds. They are there. But they have to be run in a way that it can benefit the end user and things like that. The area of the research, the entrepreneurship and innovation, we see number of startups. I've mentioned to you that the association of many people who are dealing with that, but we need to work hard to support them in such a way that, because I don't believe that we, especially we Tanzanians, that we can be consumers for life in the digital space. I see Tanzania to be a country that is participating in innovation in the world, in the level of, like, for example, I like the way China is doing, because if a certain country creates a certain innovation, you'll find they've created their own innovation and they use it. So we have to reach a point where we can have our own applications that they're learning our own AI robots behind it, for example, of the like of the WhatsApp, the likes of Snapchat and things like that, the kind of Facebook and things. But of course, we have to innovate and ensure that we have those platforms and we perform, we participate in the global digital economy properly. So I believe that this pillar, they are practical, they can be used in our economy, but we need to have a strategy, and the strategy need to be like the way my colleagues, presenters that have said, it has to be more collaborative. We have to give chance to our youth with their startups. They have to grow, and we have to provide the market for them. So that's how I can answer your question. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Masaga, for that good response. Yes, still I can see there are some more questions. One from Baga Kajimbula, who I think is asking about a policy framework. Can you also respond to that, Dr. Masaga?
Yes, like the way I said before, that a continent with many countries, like 54. But when it comes to AI or digital economy in general, we need to have to take advantage of multilateral, the organization, which is, of course, is headed by African Union, very to be able to share data on ourselves. That is one thing. How can that be done? That can be done first by making sure that most African countries, they have data protection law, because data protection law is the one that will give you power to say to Facebook that all data which are originating from Tanzania, they're supposed to be in a data center in Tanzania. That's the first thing. And then those data centers, they're supposed to have an agreement on how to share data in a way that is going to maintain the privacy of people who are generating the data. We don't want, for example, someone's medical records to be accessed by someone, say, in Cameroon, which shows, for example, someone's name or things like that. So we have to have a framework which will protect the privacy of someone, but also being able to provide data for researchers, for innovators within the continent. I believe that can be done, and that can be done in the level of AU. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that response. I can see we have Perbai Marjan. This question, I think, is the one that he asked me. I mean, or rather, there's a response here, he's talking about with the fast-moving technology, there is a requirement of collaboration. Did you respond to this?
Yes,
or you having some?
Yeah, he asked something very similar to that, but I would like to reiterate again that what he said, when it comes to AI, collaboration is everything, because no one can do everything alone. And the trend has shown around the world, like the way I said before, most of the power of how to extract trends, how to influence people, that power now, in previous time, it used to be residing to governments, but that power now is residing to companies. Companies are able to do that very, very efficiently. So we need to collaborate between ourselves so that we can create an equitable environment where each and every player will be able to play the role. And the framework which you can use is a triple helix. The collaboration has to be between the government, the academia, and also the private sector. We need to be able to talk together. Because in the global digital economy, there's no, because if I use triple helix model globally, it means the place of government is where we're supposed to have United Nations, right? The place of academia, we have many universities in the world. the place of private sector is where we have these companies of the like of the Google, the Facebook, the Alibaba, the Baidus, and others, and Microsoft and others. These companies, I don't know, because there was no framework in the world to manage them. They have a lot of data, they have a lot of computation, and they have a lot of talents that they can produce very strong algorithms. And because of that, honestly, they are very powerful compared to even some other countries when it comes to influencing people and things like that. So we need collaboration. We need collaboration to ensure that we are not going to create a situation in our country or in our continent similar to what is happening in the world now. For example, and this will sum up my answer to this question. If you look at the research landscape of AI, that is, you look at the Google Scholars and other places, and you search papers which has been written to AI, you'll find most of the powerful papers, they came from these companies. While previously, powerful papers used to come from universities. So these companies, they've amassed a lot of knowledge, a lot of skills. They have a lot of talented people. They have computation, they have algorithm, and they have data, and everyone is triple helix, where there will be government, there will be academia, and there will be private sector. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. We have some more questions from the chat. Now, can I take this question to Mahadia, please? There is a question about, can you share some practical AI initiative applications by Tanzanians for Africans? Yeah, can Mahadia respond to that, please?
Sorry, can you share what applications? Can you repeat?
There's there's this question in the chat that says, can you share some practical AI initiatives or other applications by Tanzanians for Africans?
There are a couple of applications. For instance, the Dr. Elsa, which uses the natural language processing techniques and machine learning to which can be able to predict diseases. And it has been deployed. I think they worked with the UNICEF, and it was deployed in Pwani. And they're also the same, they're working on the area of HIV, and it has been deployed. I think it's in Meru Hospital in Arusha. So yeah, and there are other platforms like the eShangazi, and I'm coming from DLab. DLab, we also have developed some natural language processing models as well, like the sentiment. We do sentiment analysis where you can be able to tell perception of people regarding a particular topic. So you can use basically it helps like to conduct marketing analysis. So yeah, if you want to know to what extent your product has been received by the market. So yeah, it can be able to tell. It can be able to tell you. So yeah, so there are a couple of AI application that are used in Tanzania. I mean, that have been developed in Tanzania and have been deployed. But most of them have been deployed at a low scale. But I also know organizations like Cellcom. They are also developing their own recommendation engines. Recommendation engines are those applications where you can, they can be able to gather your interests so that they can share with you relevant information. It's like when you go online and you like to purchase certain stuff, oftentimes you see those. So also mobile companies using the same Yeah, some of them, they are developing them locally. So yeah, there are a couple of initiatives in Tanzania.
Oh, thank you so much, Mahadia. Thank you very much. That's really nice. It's very good to have those kind of applications that are here in Tanzania. So yeah, looking at the charts also, there are calls for the contacts of our presenters. I think this one, I'll leave it to our host, Dr. Mramba. Later on, he can share the contacts to the community. We maybe might need to know more in some other time. So now there is a question from Monica Kisima. She's asking how government will ensure that AI technology is implemented in rural areas with these scarce resources. Can I start with Mahadi as well?
Sorry, again, can you repeat? I only heard the last.
All right. Okay. There's this question that both of you are going to respond, but let me start with you. Is how government will ensure that AI technology is implemented in rural areas with these scarce resources?
Okay. So actually, AI can help bring some of the services to rural areas. So there are some application, for instance, the one that I mentioned, the like of Ishangazi and Dr. Alsa. So basically, such kind of application can help the rural areas where you don't have enough doctors or medical professions, because such application, for instance, can predict diseases based on the symptoms that one has. So with that, that means you can be able to bring some of the services to the local area. I have worked on, so I've worked on the prediction of causes of death, for instance, like in these developing countries, over 70% of people are dying at home. So most of the time, the government, it's hard to collect information on the causes of death, for instance. So we developed a solution where it can be able to predict causes of death by interviewing the person, the caretaker. And most such kind, this tool is actually to be used in the rural areas where oftentimes where people are taken care at home and dying at home out of health facilities. So AI actually, AI tools can actually be able to bring some of the services and solutions to the rural area. And one of the challenges with these tools actually is some of the people there trust the tools more than people. So that's one of the challenges that was found. But actually AI can be able to bring the gap to bridge some of the service gap. So I would say AI actually can complement, but the only thing that I see as a challenge is maybe the divide and the opportunities that are skewed to the rural areas, where rural areas are equipped more youth from the rural and from the areas are equipped more with skills compared to the counterparts. So that's what I see as a challenge. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for that response, and we proceed. Thank you a lot. I've seen Pirbai is having risen up the hand. Can he, Pirbai, please proceed?
Doctor, I think I can also add something to the previous question. When it comes to rural,
please go on.
when it comes to rural, crucial things is access to devices. Not only any device, because we need to understand AI needs smartphones. So access devices are important. Another thing is to provide telecommunication services. They're supposed to be equitable, or we have to reach the level where we supposed to have a universal telecommunication services that everyone is connected. Another thing is to give them the skills so that they'll be able to use, and also they can be able to innovate if possible. And then to provide them education so that they can use AI to complement the daily activities that they use, that they support their life in rural areas. And the last thing, since we have a lot of youth in Tanzania, and the youth are also in rural places, to make sure that we teach them about digital entrepreneurship that take advantage of AI, so that we can see enterprises in rural areas that they use AI, for example, to know where the customers are, to predict the demand of what they are growing over there, and things of that sort. Yeah, thank you. And I think I have to thank everyone. I also need to go for the conference in here. I fully enjoyed, and this is a very good thing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. May I now welcome our host, Dr. Mramba, to say something to Dr. Moses before he goes?
Dr. Moses, thank you very much. We learned a lot from you. We understand that you are among the experts in this sector. Therefore, we appreciate your time. We know that you are busy at Morocco, but you spent almost 2 hours with us. Thank you very much, and we are going to invite you later on. Asante sana.
Asante sana, Doctor. I really appreciate. And I might say that I will not be able to reach this level that I have without CBE. You people, you have done a lot to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are you also in Marrakesh, if I may know?
Exactly, I'm in Marrakesh.
Okay, okay, all the best.
Thank you very much. I'm going to give the feedback of the conference that we're attending here.
Okay, now participants, there was some issue of the presenters' contacts. I think our host has already shared it on the discussion point there. We can see all the contacts for our presenters or rather discussants. I saw Ms. Piribai was raising up a hand. Can you proceed, Mr. Piribai?
No, I think I wanted to talk to Dr. Moses, but I think it's okay. It's fine. Nilikuwa nataka kuuliza tu swali, if you are private institution allowed to have a data collection center? That was the question, but no, I'll get it from someone.
Okay. Since there are those contacts, maybe you can proceed from there. All right. I'm trying to look if there are more maybe questions or okay, no reason hand.
Dr. Modosi, I think we can invite Director of Academics is here so that he can say something before we close, because we have only 14 minutes, and since 2 persons are no longer here, then if there is nothing, you can invite the Director of Academics so that you can say something before we close, unless if there is any comments from the members of the public.
Okay, thank you very much, our host. Now, may I take this opportunity to welcome the Director of Academics, Dr. Shima Badele.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dr. Mwandosia. I joined the discussion, but unfortunately, in some few minutes, I was not around due to other responsibility. But to be sincere, I'm in a good track, because artificial intelligence nowadays on the issues of academics, particularly teaching, learning, and assessment, has been invaders and has been leading to difficulties, particularly to students and both lecturers. Because sometimes you assume that the questions which are posed to the students are real using artificial intelligence for learning, but in real context, they are plagiarized the content from the system. So this is a new area which needs a lot of focus. And for this discussion or for this, what was going on, it means we need a lot as lecturers, we need a lot as academicians to keep on digging more on how we go with this new practice within the academic perspectives. Thank you for this time. We have got a lot. Thank you, Dr. Mwando.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I hand over back to our host, Dr. Mramba, I have seen Dr. Gomera, who is also Director of Academic Support Services. Maybe with your permission, Dr. Mramba, can Gomera say something on this?
Yes.
Dr. Gomera, please. Director for Academic and Support Services.
He's not around, may proceed.
Yeah, I think it may be his, yeah. So, Dr. Mramba, I might say thank you very much for organizing this very nice topic. As you have seen it, it has attracted a lot of people, and we have gained a lot of stuff from this. In a time we think maybe even 2 hours is not enough, but anyway, we have gained a lot. So can I take back this to you so that we close up? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mwandosia. Special thanks to Mahadia. We have never met. I got your contacts, then I contacted you, and actually you agreed. Thank you very much. You made a wonderful presentation here. And I think we are going to contact you. If you can visit here at our college physically, then you can have more lecture. Otherwise, thank you very much. Thank you. We shall also visit your data lab so that you can learn more from you. Also, we have Mir from the JR Institute of Technology from Arusha. Thank you very much for being here. I've seen you and also some of your employees. Thank you very much, all lecturers from the College of Business Education, including the directors. Thank you all master students who have been here, heads of departments, and everyone for joining us today. We thank you very much for being here. I think this is one among the wonderful discussion. And also we are going to have another discussion next month. I don't know what will be the topic, but we shall communicate you. Karibuni sana next time. Then we are helping our students to learn. We, the lecturers, are learning, and also the Tanzanians are learning from this discussion. Thank you very much all, and welcome again next time. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much.